What is it talking about the Balatanya? Yeah, one second. It's right. So one of us the Baditchever. One of the 10 students of the Maggid, who was the student of the Baal Shem Tov, was the Levi Yitzchak of Barditchev. Barditchev was the name of the city. He was the Barditchever Rebbe. He was a great saint, holy man. He prayed with great ecstasy and fervor. He was called to do miracles. He wrote books about Kablah. Famous Hasidic saint of the top 10, the original 10 minyan of Hasidic Rebbe's. And any, like I said, any Rebbe today is in a dynastic line, genealogically descended from one of these original 10. 9 generations, a dynasty of Hasidic leaders. So the Barditchever didn't leave anybody after him. He didn't have a son, or his son wasn't Rebbe material, and it died with him. But we have a lot of stories about the Barditchever himself. So, okay, you're bringing the...
Bringing the notch over here.
Okay, very good, thank you. So the Barditchever was once in the middle of his prayers, morning prayers. Went to the synagogue to pray, and then, as was his custom, he went home, and there he really prayed. I mean, he would just hang out over there, listen to the Torah, okay, and then he went home. He was the saint of Barditchev. So all of a sudden, there's a knock on the door in the middle of his prayers. But of course, he's not going to hear the knock. He's like in the fourth world from the other place. So there's a knock on the door, open up the name of the Tsar. Well, he's being arrested. Okay, but anyway, the Chassidim used to tie pillows on his prayer stand because he would begin to shake back and forth with such fervor and basking in the awareness of the reality of God, he'd bang his head on the prayer stand, but he didn't really feel it. So he'd bang it again. So they tied. These are people that, in the middle of prayer, they fall down, start rolling on the ground. Saintly people that only a few in the generation. So these are the Rebbes, the Moses of the generation. Spoke face to face with God. Moses, big one. So these are the Moses of the generation. So the Barditchever didn't hear them. And they stood with the clipboard and said, "What is your name, citizen of the Tsar?" What is it called? L'chaim, L'chaim. Rami, nice to see you. Okay, Rami, now we're even. He came late to my class too. Okay. Guess that's your call. I came late to lunch yesterday with him. Now we're even. Okay. But he forgave me, though. God bless. He's a generous man. He forgave me. Is that funny? Okay. We're 1 for 1 now. Next two will come up time. I just kidding. So the Barditchever was in the middle of his prayers, and even in a place where you're not allowed, according to Jewish law, to interrupt the prayer by conversation, speaking one to another, he would say things in the vernacular, in his Mamaloshen, in Yiddish, like Tate Zis in the Himmel. Anybody understand a word of Yiddish here? Tate Zisa, sweet Father, in Himmel, in heaven. Just escaped from his lips as he was in the middle of his prayers. Not talking about nice guys. Talking about people, saintly people, live only a few in a generation of Jewish people. The Moses, literally, like the Holy Zohar says, the main Bible of all the Kabbalah Zohar, that every Rebbe, every tzaddik every saint is the Moses of the generation, at least for whoever just feels that you are a follower, disciple of that tzaddik. So when they said, "What's your name?" he was in the middle of prayers and he said, "Der Barem Dike Gott." Der Barem Dike means exalted on high. Highest as high could be. Der Barem Dike. So they wrote down Der Barem Dike. Now when I heard this story, I had 6 months ago taken a leave of absence from university. How you doing? And I thought to myself, well, I don't know about this story. I mean, if the Baal Shem Tov was supposed to have done all the miracles he was supposed to have done, he had to live 375 years or probably something like that. So there's 3 different ways to look at Hasidic stories. If you don't believe any of the stories, you're an apikoros, a non-believer. If you believe every story, you're a fool. What should you believe?
What's not to believe about that story?
Right? What should you believe? You should believe that if they tell a story about a tzaddik, I mean about a real tzaddik, and it's possible he could have done it. Maybe he didn't actually do it. He could have done it. Tzaddik, Moses split the sea, he couldn't have done it. Somebody's in touch. As I'm not talking about even the prophets. What does it say in the Bible itself about Moses in Deuteronomy? There never arose a prophet like in all of Israel like Moses. The Bible itself testifies he was. And the Zohar says that in every generation lives a Moses, and that's the Rebbe, whichever Rebbe you choose. Whichever is your Moses. Doesn't matter mine. I had one. And passed away 10 years ago. I still have it. We left 40 volumes, 40 years of volumes of work, so we have pretty much what he thought. So everybody needs a Moses. Moshe Rabbeinu. So I'm at Valley College. I'm a campus rabbi. I don't remember what years, maybe. Probably 25, 30 years ago. And I meet this girl, 18 years old. I'm a campus rabbi. I have my little table at LA Valley College. And this girl comes up and she says, it's interesting, she had some Israeli name like like Ofra or something like that, or Iris. So she said, I think it's interesting, my mother told me I'm descended from a great Hasidic rabbi. What's the name of it? What's a look? She doesn't know. They come back and tell me about it. She comes back and she says that her mother doesn't know either. She knows some great Hasidic rabbis but I haven't found in my hands who this is a DNA, the gene pool. We got some Hasidic budding flower here who has the Rebbe's something in there. So I said, what's your name? She says, last name. I said, Finkelstein. No, Finkelstein. So I say, what's your mother's maiden name? And she says, Der Barendiker. You understand what's going on here? Then I took his holy book, Kedushas Levi. He wrote a book of esoteric secrets of the Torah. And I studied with her. So it was very nice to have a descendant of the Batichiva Rebbe, the Holy Saint, and a lot of stories written about him. And study his book with his granddaughter. Okay, we should give these out. Here's this whole thing. Are they stapled? They're stapled? Look at that.
If anybody wants anything hot to drink, just pick this up and get it.
This one isn't stapled, so this must be your original.
No, it's the original. You have the original? No. Here,
If we don't have
take.
enough, I'll keep it.
No, then you can keep it. It's okay, because we have the originals. I just wanted you to know there are, in case you're interested in getting,
You know what?
no, you'll share.
Oh, because
There's only 9 of them tonight, but I'll make more the next time. Just so you know,
Oh,
there's, this is all in English, so as we
the notations when you say the Shema. Now, it's important for any study about God, the God being, to get this chapter 1 in order, because if not, it becomes very difficult. So there's 2 ways to go, 2 directions that people sometimes will be pulled. in a study of of any mysticism, any theology, anything to. What Kabbalah really is about is the study of the Torah about God. That's pretty much it. Everything else is an offshoot of that. But so what is the inner meaning behind certain mitzvahs, or how does the God being work? Because if you want to say Baruch Atah, blessed are you, so you should have some relationship with the you, who you're talking to. But if we don't study about God, then how would you know about him? So, I was thinking about the only way to really, what does it say there's a verse in the Bible, and sometimes it's on the curtain, the parochet, of the Holy Ark that houses the Torah. There's one sentence there, and it says, Da lifnei mi ata omed. Know before whom you stand. It doesn't say believe before whom you stand. It says know. It requires knowledge. You have to have some information. That's the Kabbalah, the information about God. But it says you should love God. So the Maggid, the successor to the Baal Shem Tov, asks the question, how can God command an emotion? How can God command you to have an emotion? Love strawberry. I like chocolate. I don't have it. I could say I like, but I don't. I like chocolate. I mean, love. Hey, how can God command an emotion? What's that about? It's one of the 613 biblical commandments in the book, Deuteronomy 6:9. And thou shalt love. It's in the imperative. How can you fulfill that? How can God legislate that? Legislate you to have an emotion. Love this, love. The Maggid says, listen, you're looking at it, you have to look at it a different way. What's the reason you should love God? That's what you should study about and meditate on. Because what does it say in the Bible? Who was the wisest of all men? God gave him the gift of wisdom. King Solomon the wise. He wrote 3 books of the 24 books of the Bible. The second book he wrote was Mishlei. Proverbs, book in the Bible. There it says, Kemayim apanim lapanim, ken lev ha'adam la'adam. Any Israelis here? Somebody who's can correct me on my Hebrew? So it says there, Kemayim apanim lapanim. Like when you look at a lake, and your face is looking at that lake, and the lake is clear like a mirror. Whatever expression you have in your face, Kemayim apanim lapanim, it looks back at you the same way, right? That's the way the heart of one person is to another. Whatever way you are putting out, that's what you're getting back. Kemayim apanim lapanim, like the reflection of face in the water, Kain lev ha'adam, likewise is the heart of man la'adam, to his fellow. So we have to know, let's meditate on what's the greatest gift. It's the greatest gift of all life. So if God gave us life, that's something that we take for granted. How do you know we take for granted? Hi, Dana. How do you know we take it for granted? Well, because there's a proof that constant pleasure is not pleasure. You have an axiom. Ta'anug timidi eino ta'anug. Ta'anug means pleasure. Ta'anug timidi, continuous pleasure. Eino ta'anug is not pleasure. Owning Shabbat. What's the proof for that everybody will agree? Being alive. Being alive. Kant says that you most everything. Being alive. It's the greatest gift. Everybody wants to perpetuate that situation. But it's not like every second, I'm alive. Wow, I'm alive. You know, when you have that, I was in the 6-day war. It was 12 hours that about every couple, 3 minutes, we were very happy to be alive. You know, bombs exploding, that's like, wow. Another 2 minutes, there'll be another bomb. Let's see if I'll be able to tell my mother the story. So that's very powerful. The desire to be alive, self-survival. To find out what that is. Find out what's inside the soul. And what forces you have these two souls.
Great
segue, thank you. Is the practical value. So, but anyway, let's. It's very. So the two things I started saying is that one thing is it's basically Kabbalah, the study of God, and the definition. That's the definition. Then, since we can never ultimately understand God, so why should we study about God at all? Boom. End of the discussion. He throws me out the door. There is no such a thing as, because since you ultimately can't understand the essence of the God being anyway, so what are you talking about? However, you don't say that when you come to somebody that you like. Since I can never get to understand the nth degree of the inside of the apex of their soul, therefore I like to make their acquaintance more. I like to get to know them better, to make them nice people. So the more you know about something, the more powerful it is. Same way with relationships. If you casually know someone, it's barely an acquaintance. If you have a roommate, this is either somebody, well, you suddenly have strong emotions, either pro or con, but you have a certain experience of this person. So if God is only God from the perspective of a very young age, because after a young age, people basically feel uncomfortable around the 3-letter word, God. If you say it too many times, they look at you funny. It's not polite in polite conversations. It's just not like a Moses freak, or he's one of those, or he's flipped out, there's another cult happening. But if it's something that you think about, God, and there should be a way to approach it more with layers. Where I look at it, the knowledge of God is like this is probably the best way to do it, the connect the dots game. Here you have a blank sheet of paper. The more lines you draw, the slowly from an abstract, this could be a tree forming over here. So that's the way, you don't understand Jewish mysticism like you understand mathematics. This is about us, the robot, understanding its master. It's not so easy. How can you get to understand God? You have a ticket, a simple way. God created man in God's image. So if I observe or self-observe, I should be able to point out things that God has. That's the insight. And it's actually in a verse in the Bible itself. Umi besari echazeh Eloka. And from the soul that's in my flesh, I can visualize God. It's a verse in the Bible, beautiful verse. I can observe 10 soul powers in me. 3 intellect and 7 emotions. That means that God has 10 sphirot, 10 emanations. That's pretty much the gist of the way Jewish mysticism goes. So it's worth, even if we can't understand the essence of how many times in relationships can you not understand the essence of that person's soul, even if you're joined at the hip. I mean, there's privacy areas. So let's try to get these right, especially since the last thing is the caveat. You cannot. There's 13 principles of faith. Someone says, "What do Jews believe?" What's your answer? Well, there's 13 principles of faith. Shloshas are ikarim. Now they all start the same way. I believe with complete faith that. 13 of those. Well, most people say them in the morning prayers after the morning prayers. Ani ma'amin be'emunah shlema b'abam. Number 2, I forget, one of those is, because Chabadniks don't say it, we just believe it, but they'll just say it. One of those is that God has no connection in any way, shape, or form to anything material or tangible, like physicality in any way, shape, or form kind of thing. So once you say that, so it sort of takes it out of the realm of our purview. However, if you say that you can observe God in man, in the divine image of generic man, then we can talk. Intellect and emotions, yeah. We can discuss it, make it 7, as you say, more or less, whatever, but ancient Jewish mysticism has it down, that has this. So for me, this is the big deal. I'm learning about my 10 soul powers. The way my intellect works, the way my emotions work, especially the 2 primary emotions, the other 5 are offshoots. Okay, let's do this. Anthropomorphism, $60 word. Chapter 1, Anthropomorphism and Metaphors. 1, Anthropomorphism. Now, an anthropomorphism is ascribing a human trait to God, like emotions, like anger. God can't have anger. Anger is a human emotion. Anger means you are short-sighted. Oh, I stubbed my toe. Oh, that happened wrongly. Oh, I didn't see that coming. You didn't see that coming. If you got it, you saw it coming. Anger is like, aha. There's no aha with God, by definition. So, this is called an anthropomorphism. Okay, here we go. I'm going to start off. Everybody's going to read a little bit, so slowly so I can interrupt, so just go through this. It gets better actually the next page, but this is actually essential in any study of Kabbalah or that kind of stuff. Okay. The terminology of Kabbalah and Hasidism, and thus in the expositions following, is highly anthropomorphic. That means the terms are borrowed from human concepts in the empirical world. You don't say the Godhead, or you say the globe of the sun and the sunlight emanating from the ball of the sun. You don't talk about like the Kabbalists talked. To talk about the original Kabbalah, you'd have to be a Kabbalist and to talk their language and understand their stuff. Shalom Rabbeinu Gershom. The reason is, why do you do that? Why do they say the eyes of God are upon the righteous when he doesn't have eyes? That sort of thing. The reason is because these are the only type of words that man can use in any meaningful way. And this is what we understand. If you say God got angry, we get it, even though it means a reversal of the divine plan, whatever. The forms of spatial, temporal, space and time concepts are imposed upon the mind of man who lives in a spatial, temporal world. Time and space. It is for this very reason that the Torah, the prophets, and our sages use anthropomorphic language, as it is stated, Dibrat Torah kilashon b'nei Adam. It's a very famous quote. It's in the Talmud. That Torah. Why does the Torah say God did that and He can't do that? Even if to the point of when God said, "Let there be," He can't say. In order to say, you need 5 phonetics. It will enunciate 22 letters. There's 22 letters in the Hebrew alphabet. Bu maf, bet mem vav fei, pei, comes from the sfatayim, phonetic of the lips. If you have lips, you can say bet vav mem pei. If you don't have lips, you can't say it. Chet ayin comes from the garon, from the throat. And others from the teeth. How many teeth does God have?
9.
Does he need we have 32. How many does he have? Ad absurdum. So the point is, you can't have, even God speaks God said, let there be. That means he communicated in a way that's similar to human speech. But he didn't say, because he can't say. Because then you can ask, is an alto, a soprano, a baritone tenor, what do we got here? So that's not happening. Torah speaks in the language of men. Important sentence. 4. Here's another quote, so it's going to be rocky. A quote means it's quoting something classical, not something modern. So the language is always going to be problematic. 4. Had they limited themselves to abstract forms and concepts appropriate to God, we would have understood neither the terms nor the concepts. The words and ideas used have accordingly to be such as are adapted to the hearer's mental capacities, so that the subject would first sink into their mind in the corporeal material sense in which the concrete terms are understood. Our Father, our King. Is he a king? Does he have a queen? Does he have a crown? What do you mean he's a king? What is king? A monarch? Does he have hit squads? I mean, what is the king thing about? You have to be, once upon a time, monarchy was a big deal, so you had to explain it in different ways, anthropomorphically. So, okay. Then, this is an important sentence, next one here. Then we can proceed to an understanding that the presentation is only approximate and metaphorical, doesn't really mean king, and that the reality is too subtle, too exalted. The reality of when it says that God was angry. He wasn't really angry. But whatever happened there was too subtle and too exalted and remote for us to comprehend its subtlety. The wise thinker will endeavor to strip the husk of the terms